Well, hey everyone, welcome to another coach video tip. My name's Dan Foster. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and an executive coach here at Building Champions. And today it is my pleasure to be speaking with our founder and our CEO, and most importantly, someone I call a friend, Daniel Harkavy. So, Daniel, it's great to be with you, bud.
So good to be with you, Dan, and I'm excited about our conversation.
I am too. Hey everyone, we're going to be discussing today a core belief that has shaped everything that we do here at Building Champions, and it's the belief that better humans make better leaders. We've found that leadership isn't just about strategy or execution, it's about who you are as a person, your beliefs, your habits, your mindset. They don't just impact your own success, they influence your team, your organization, and even your community. So, what does it really mean to be a better human? And how does that translate into being a better leader? And how can organizations develop leaders who lead from the inside out? Daniel, this is going to be our conversation today, bud. And I'm super excited because this is something that you have believed for such a long time.
Yeah, it's been at the very core of I think building champions foundation is we have always existed to make a real impact, not only in the leader's professional life, but their personal life as well, because we humans are we you can't separate. We're an integrated being, and hey, if you can help somebody to win in all areas and help them to be integrated in all areas,
Yep.
you see great results, not just in business, but in life. So it's been
Amen.
more than what, almost 3 decades
Yes.
of working with really beautiful humans who are amazing leaders.
Yeah. And what was it that really just inspired this belief? Like, when did you, as our founder and as you were working with clients, when did you come to the realization that this is a core belief? Like, this drives what we do at Building Champions.
So I started the company when I was roughly 30, 31 years old, and that
Mhm.
was after 10 years in banking and in the mortgage banking world, I saw examples of really wonderful humans that had been derailed in pursuit of another transaction, another deal, more volume, more money. The allure is, it's a timeless allure. It's been going on since the beginning of time. How do we, as men and women, amass more? And we spend so much time doing this thing called work.
Mhm.
When we're winning at work, the adrenaline hits, the dopamine hits, the accolades, the pats on the back, it can be intoxicating. And what I saw really good humans that were 10, 20, 30 years older than and I saw them with a lot of material success and
Mhm.
wealth and professional success, but I saw them bankrupt in the areas of their life. And what I saw was a disconnect.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, over time, that disconnect, them not being integrated beings, it actually hindered their leadership.
Mm.
And I saw them hit leadership lids
Yep.
because they were really struggling being present. They weren't making the best of decisions. It seemed like they were fighting all sorts of demons. So, very difficult for them to operate at peak levels as business leaders if they weren't operating at peak levels as humans in the other areas of their life. So, that was
Yes.
a lot of the genesis for me wanting to start building champions.
Yeah. I love it, man. That's great. And it seems like that has just over the years permeated really everything that we do at Building Champions, from whether it's a one-on-one relationship or a team workshop or an executive retreat, or if you're speaking to a large audience. This fundamental idea that your self leadership precedes team leadership is essential, and it's something that we have really focused in on. And I'm pleased, and I love the fact that we get to say that this is what makes us different than other coaching organizations,
Yeah.
because other organizations will, they'll come in and they'll train you on skills and they'll talk to you about strategies, and we do that too, but we also go deeper and look at that both beliefs and behaviors. So talk to us a little bit about, why is that self leadership just so essential for someone to have in place so that they can lead others really effectively?
Yeah. So I believe how we feel when we're alone impacts how we feel when we walk into a room. I
Mm,
believe that a leader's effectiveness is determined by two things: the decisions they make and the influence they have.
yeah.
I believe that how I lead myself I'm being observed as a leader.
Hmm.
All of that put together impacts engagement, it impacts alignment, it
Yep.
impacts how much risk our teammates are willing to take in order to help the organization to flourish. People make conscious and subconscious decisions about trust with us and followership based upon who they see us being as
Yes.
people. So
Hmm.
they'll watch how do we treat the food server at the restaurant? How do we treat the flight team when our flights are delayed
Right.
or when things don't go well in travel? They're watching to see that we have just integration. We're the same person all the time. And then they're listening and they're listening to how we speak of our family members and how we speak of others,
Mm.
conscious and subconscious decisions. And then they look at us and how do we treat ourselves? And especially for younger people. Younger
Yeah.
people are looking 5, 10, 20 years down the road and they're making these decisions. Do I want to wind up like him or her?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So
Hmm.
do I want to continue to endeavor in this business? And is this company going to chew me up and turn me into him or her?
Yeah.
Or do I really want to be like him and her? And do I want a life? And do I want to lead like him and her?
Yes.
So people are making these conscious and subconscious decisions. So who we are as humans and how we lead ourselves, it impacts how we engage with others. Now, you
Yep.
mentioned beliefs and behaviors. This is where integrity really comes into play
Hmm.
because if at our core we're living out our convictions, what we believe about others, what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about the future and potential,
Yeah.
all of that comes out of our mouth needs to align with how we behave.
Mm.
So it
Hmm.
comes really down to identity. And do we
Yeah.
believe that we're in this role for a reason? And do we believe we can move the needle and make a positive difference? And
Yep.
all of this creates this intergear of feelings, thinking, and believing.
Yep.
And that mode that spins an outer gear, which we've talked about before, which is, our disciplines and our relationships and our
Yeah.
competencies, which ultimately gets us results.
Results. Yeah.
So, it's integrated, and you could be speaking on this just as well as could I, and the rest of our
Absolutely.
team of coaches. But
Yeah.
hey, we believe it with all we are, everything we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll never forget when I was in the audience listening to you speak one time before I worked at Building Champions, and we were over in Sun River at our Building Champions experience. And I was sitting in the audience, and you said something to the effect of what you just said, that as a leader, you have to remember that your people are always watching and they're always listening.
Yep.
And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'd never thought about that before. I'd never thought about how am I showing up as a leader, and people are watching me, and that actually determines their trust level with me, their desire to want to follow me, their desire to want to give me their best, and like you said, their desire to say, do I want to be like that as a leader? And so it was a major moment for me in my leadership
Mm.
journey where I started to shift and really think about every area of my life, and that I wanted to be the same person that I was at home, that I am at work, that I'm out in community, like you said, when I'm engaging with people. So I thank you for that. That was almost 15 years ago. And I'm so thankful that we came up with our tagline, better humans make better leaders, because it just sums it up so beautifully. So,
Yeah.
okay. So
Great, Dan.
when we work with organizations, we find that when they prioritize personal growth and self-awareness, we start to see like a ton of impact. We see increased performance in both the individuals and their teams and the organization. So can you share maybe just some real world examples of how have you seen this idea, better humans make better leaders, self-leadership preceding team leadership? How have you seen that actually lived out with people being transformed in their leadership and maybe their teams and even organizations?
Well, this is where I get to brag on clients
Yeah.
because we've had so many fantastic clients over the years, and to pick one client out and to brag on them could be detrimental to us because then I'm not picking out the hundreds or thousands of
Right.
others. So I apologize. You're all amazing. But the one that comes to mind right now comes to mind because I just had a couple of months ago, I had my final coaching session with the chairman of Daimler Truck and Bus out of Stuttgart, Germany, Martin Dahm.
Yeah.
And, Martin and I have spent days together. We've spent weeks together over the last 11 years. And to watch him and how he changed from the very first meeting in 2014 through retiring just a couple of months ago, and to see the transformation in their North American facility as well as globally.
Hmm.
Yeah, whether it was we were working in Asia or working with them over in Europe, just to see that transformation was pretty phenomenal. And here's what I share. During that period of time, their organization just continued to climb from a revenue, from
Yeah.
return on sales, all the key financial metrics that were important to that organization. They hit their objective. Martin set a vision and accomplished it. And that was great. As business leaders, we are responsible for delivering results
Yep.
to all key stakeholders. And that has to be in place. But what was most exciting was the cultural piece.
Mm.
Because what he did was he wanted all of his leaders to experience life planning. And he
Yes.
wanted all of his leaders to experience team health, to where they actually moved from combative conflict posturing to
Hmm.
a cohesive caring posturing.
Yeah.
We talked deeply about the whole belief and behavior and assuming positive intent, API, and
Hmm.
how that changed how they work together. So I have so many stories, whether it be in North America with John O'Leary as CEO now, and who succeeded him, two leaders later, or whether it be with now the chairman with Karin Radstrom, who I worked with for the last few years, and to watch her transform from old programming on what it means to be a leader that has to drive, 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 which you do, to a leader that needs to more engage, engage, engage.
Yeah.
And to see that shift with these crazy gifted humans, they're
Hmm.
they're so smart, they're so talented, they're so devoted to leading their businesses, but to just watch them change and to see victory, victory, victory along the way, that's one of many, many client
Yes.
stories where what a privilege for us. And that wasn't a Daniel thing. That was a building champions thing. There was an army of us working with that organization, coaching hundreds of their people
Yeah.
from C-suite board all the way through, mid-level managers doing workshops for level fours and level fives. What an amazing gift. And they don't miss an opportunity to let us know that we were game changing and
Yep.
their lives were transformed as a result of what you and the other coaches and our team did.
Yeah.
So, it's a highlight for me,
It
to
is.
see him return and to have him, I think I shared with the team, he got up on the whiteboard just a couple months ago and he just said, "Hey, this is where we were, and this is how we were functioning, and this is where you came in, and this is what happened."
I
And,
love it.
he just sat me down. He wanted to make sure that I fully understood the impact and his gratitude. And now he's been retired for a couple of months and he's living in Stuttgart. But he and I have a call set up for this month, and he and his wife will be coming out in 2 months, and we'll be getting together, Sherry and I, and Martin and
Yeah.
Karen for dinner. And these clients, they go from business acquaintances to people that we truly get to have amazing relationships.
Yep.
And hey, I love them. You love them. We love our clients. It's what a
That's right.
gift. It's a great way to spend a day, bud.
It is. It's a tremendous gift. That's exactly right. And I love that we all get to rally around our purpose and vision to work with more clients like this. It's
Yeah.
just great. So
Yeah.
well, we have organizations that watch this, human resource leaders, and oftentimes we'll get questions after these coach video tips where they want to know, okay, how can I apply that? What can I be doing to bring this to my organization? So I'd love your advice for an executive leading an organization, a human resource leader, where they're saying, I want to build a culture like you just described with Daimler and Martin Dahm. I want to build that type of culture where it is better humans and better leaders. It's about leadership growth and we're prioritizing it at every level. What's your advice to them there?
I think this is an inside job. And I
Hmm.
think in order for this to work, it really does need to start within the CEO and the CEO's heart for the people that he or she get to serve.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an immense privilege and responsibility to lead an organization, but there's an exceptional few out there that really do care about their people, and it's not lip service.
Right.
When you're going to do something like Martin and Eileen Frack, or the execs at Chick-fil-A, or Bristol Myers Squibb, I mean, these people that we get to work with,
Yeah.
when you make an investment into a firm like ours and into a strategy like ours, um, it's birthed out of step one, which is I really care about my people,
Yep.
and don't miss this. This works when you see that you have an opportunity to improve results, which is just business smarts. But
Yep.
then you feel there's a moral responsibility to create a culture where humans go home
Yeah.
better off than when they arrived as a result of being plugged into your culture.
Yes.
We humans make we humans we invest the majority of our waking hours in this thing called work.
Hmm.
And there are too many companies out there led by leaders that don't get this. And what they do is they create these toxic or mediocre cultures where people go home and they need to throw one back, they need to escape. And what happens is work permeates the other areas of their life. And if work's
Yeah.
really crappy, well, then guess what? There's a good chance you're going to have some crap in your marriage. You're going to have some crap in your health. You're going to have some crap in your parenting.
Yeah.
But if work is life-giving, and if you're liking what you're doing, who you're doing it with, and you feel that you have people that are for you, surrounding you,
Yeah.
not every day, but most days, not every minute, but most minutes,
Hmm.
what happens is you go home and you're a better version of you. And then your
Yes.
marriage is better. And,
Yep.
and then your family's better. And you take better care of yourself because we're, like I said, we're these dynamic, integrated beings.
That's right.
And if you devote so many hours a day to this thing called work, hey, leaders, what we do matters. The
Yeah.
culture we create matters. And I think that, you meet with 10 different CEOs, Dan, and you know that like three of the 10 CEOs, they could give this talk. They're
Yes.
like, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Um,
Yep.
and I'm willing to make the investment. I know we're going to get the business results. I know it's going to improve engagement. I know it's going to improve innovation. I know it's going to improve team cohesion. I know it's going to rid us of internal politicking and those dynamics that create conflict inside. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
the organization is wasting so much energy fighting one another, department over department, instead of keeping the battle outside the walls and the competition. There's 3 out of 10 leaders that get it. And boy, they're the fun ones to work with.
They
And
are.
then there's three
Yep.
more leaders that are like, you know what? I didn't see it and I need to
Yep.
because I knew something was missing. And then there are four that just won't believe it.
Yeah.
And they're not our clients.
They're not our clients. That's right. Awesome, Daniel. Okay, so we talked at the organizational level. Now let's talk to the individual that's watching. And they're sitting there and they're like, like me, when I was in the audience listening to you that one day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to be a better human so that I can be a better leader. So, what are some just small but impactful daily practices that you found that individuals can start implementing today to just be a better human and eventually having that transform them into a better leader?
Yeah, so we've done so much of this on the great work you've led in our marketing and our messaging. But the morning routine, I believe, fully sets us up for the remainder of our day. So if I'm sitting down with somebody and I get to be a fly on the wall and watch them and I look at their first 30, 60, 90 minutes, I can tell what kind of day they're going to have and I can tell how they're going to feel by 3 o'clock.
Yep.
So if you can be incredibly selfish, which is incredibly selfless,
Hmm.
and if you can wake up and give yourself a vacation in the morning, where
Mm.
you get to put good stuff into your head, good stuff into your heart. You get to move your body. You get
Yes.
to move at a pace that will enable you to be present and will enable you to be at your best. Well, that's going to carry forward throughout your day and it will set you up for a day where at the end of the day, you feel like you've won instead of feeling like you've got regret.
Yeah.
So it's all about the morning for me.
Mm.
It's about nutrition. It's about what we allow to go in our body. All
Yep.
of our clients are athletes, and we have to treat ourselves like athletes mentally, nutritionally, physically, rest. Like
Yeah.
all of that plays into how we show up.
Yeah.
So, specifics, it's the stretching, it's the praying, it's what are you putting into your mind?
Yep.
It's all of that. And
It
Dan,
is.
that's a half day workshop. So quick
Yeah.
answer.
No, I love it. I think one of the things that you taught me was and really encouraged me when I moved into my role was, Dan, you got to have time for thinking. Like
Yep.
just set aside time for reflection and thinking. You're not listening to anything. You're not reading anything. You're just thinking about the most important priorities in your life, and you're thinking about the business. You're elevating your gaze and you're spending time thinking. And that was a game changer for me that helped me be both that better human and better leader. Could you speak just really briefly into the power of setting aside time for just reflection and thinking, Daniel?
Yeah, and so I was on with the former CEO or former president of Chick-fil-A. It was in recent months, and we were talking about the lack of time that leaders are permitting themselves to be unplugged to think is going to limit leadership capacity.
Yep.
And when you look at leadership today, and you look at, especially from 2020 through today, when we went from completely in person to partially in person,
Yep.
we got into this cadence of back to back, back to back to back, zoom, 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 so we just further compressed our time.
Yes.
Leaders need to have the space to think. And we've been coaching this for 30 years. We call it on time.
Hmm.
Working on your thinking, working on the business. You jump in this helicopter, you elevate up, and you look at this conveyor belt of the business. And you ask yourself questions of where are we doing really well? Where are we mediocre? Who have I not seen performing lately? Where's the business headed? It's just this questioning and reflection. Great leaders are intentionally curious and they're always asking questions. Well, if you're back to back all day, 6 days a week, you don't have time to ask the questions.
Hmm.
So this on time is this thinking about and coming up with the right questions so
Yes.
that you can be the leader that is ahead of the business. You're the leader the vision will require two,
Mm.
3, 4, 5 years down the road. Not status quo, always managing and leading the way you always have, but taking the best and then looking for from the past and then looking for the opportunities to improve.
Yep.
This is on time. And I can remember, Dan, 25 years ago, challenging our master's coach clients to take every Friday afternoon from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock to just think.
Yeah.
And we have so many clients that have been with us for decades. That is part of their rhythm. Friday afternoons, they're
Yep.
unplugged. You know, I mentioned Tim at Chick-fil-A, dear friend, love him dearly. Library days, a day a month where he would go to the library and unplug just to think. There are
Yep.
all sorts of examples of leaders who have made that a practice. And as a result of that, improved decision making, improved influence, more effective leaders.
That's exactly right, man. Oh, I love it, Daniel. This has been fantastic, bud. Thank you so much for just walking us through not only the history, but also just the impact that this core belief has had on building champions as well as our clients. This whole idea of better humans make better leaders. So, if you're watching and you want to know what you can do to possibly become a better human and a better leader, we'd love to work with you. We'd love to just have a conversation, whether you're an individual or if you're leading an organization and you're saying, man, this is what I want for my culture, then we want to journey along beside you. Check us out at buildingchampions.com. And you can follow us on social media, places like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're there on all those. So, Daniel, thank you once again, my friend. Great being with you.
Thanks, Dan, for all you do, buddy. Always great being with you.
Great being with you too. All right. We'll see you next time, folks.
All right.